This week on the Hooters Tour with Lee Moore and Kim Briel. Coming up this half hour, a tour around Douglas, Georgia, 4 rounds of professional golf at Douglas Golf and Country Club, and interviews with the 1993 Co-Players of the Year. You'll also get a player's tip and a rules tip. All coming up next on This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Birdies, eagles, and now owls. You know, birds of a feather. Anyway, welcome to This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Hello everybody, I'm Lee Moore.
And I'm Kim Briel.
Welcome to This Week on the Hooters Tour. 5 years ago, TC Rick Jordan founded a professional golf tour dedicated to giving young players from across the country a quality place to play as they work their way to the PGA Tour.
Currently, Lee, about 1/3 of the players on the PGA Tour got their start on what used to be called first the PGT, and that stood for the Professional Golf Tour.
Well, we had some other names too. Later, we were called the United States Golf Tour, or the USGT. After that, in 1991, we took on the name of our founder, TC Rick Jordan, hence the Jordan Tour.
And then in January of 1994, we were all in Orlando, Florida at the Convention Hall at the PGA Merchandise Show when Hooters of America became the national corporate sponsor. R.H. Bob Brooks, the worldwide wing commander, made it official.
We want to be a credit to professional golf, and we think with Rick, it's a good fit for us, and something that we'd all be proud of within the few short years anyway.
And for Rick Jordan, that had to be a bit of an emotional moment.
And luckily for this organization, we have found a man that I think is who I've been looking for, another visionary, shares my concept of putting something back, charitable stuff, building things, giving young men opportunities, and I have no idea what the relationship with Hooters is going to mean. I just know it's going to be up, it's going to be bigger, and it's a new experience for me, and I'm delighted to be associated with the organization.
Then it seemed like just a couple of days had passed and we were opening the season. A year that's going to run through 20 regular season events with purses totaling more than $2 million. And that premier season-ending Hooters Match Play Championship in Atlanta, where the top 32 money winners are going to compete. Kim?
First place, Lee, is worth $25,000 and the Jordan Cup, with the top 8 finishers having their fees paid for the PGA Tour qualifying school. A lot of money and prestige on the line this year.
Now, the Hooters Tour in '94 is going to take us from the coast of South Carolina, that's Myrtle Beach, if you will, all the way out to Albuquerque, New Mexico, up to Illinois and Ohio and points in between. In between a lot of great Hooters restaurants, I might add. But this week we're right here in the pretty little town of Douglas, Georgia. That's in the south central part of the state, not far from the Florida line. And I might add, it's just about, for the hungry and the thirsty, 2 hours to the nearest Hooters in Jacksonville.
That's not too far away. This marks the third time the tour has stopped at Douglas Golf and Country Club, but it's the first stop of the '94 season for the Hooters Tour players.
The field of 168 will be reduced to a field of 61 for the final 36 holes. On the first day, a young former Marine by the name of Jason Biddick out of Orlando will stroll the fairways, making the game look easy. His 4 under par 68 will be the best round of the day. This gives Jason the first $100 naturally fresh low round of the day check. Early on, the veteran Steve Thomas was good and bad with a putter. Now, this is the same guy who led the PGA Tour in driving distance in 1988. He's still trying to get back after a stint on the Nike Tour last year. Joe Durant will make plenty of noise this week. Last year, Joe was on the PGA Tour. And like Thomas, he's using the Hooters Tour to sharpen his game in the attempt to get back. Rob McKelvey has a Nike card this year, but he's going to play both of the tours early on. He'll be playing the Nike later on. He'll be working, though, on his putting, no doubt. Some new names to watch for early. Chris James is one of the guys that's new to the tour. Derek Brinker out of Evansville, Indiana, is another star of the future. And how about Jason Brown out of Athens, Georgia? He'll make the cut this week. He's also one of the top rap music writers in the country. He's even written for that MTV group known as Criss Cross. Scoreboard watching is the game the players play most intently on Friday. And like we said earlier, 61 players will play for the money and also positioning in the $100,000 Naturally Fresh bonus award that goes at season's end. Checking the leaderboard after 2 rounds, on top, Paul Claxton and Kent Jones, a couple of Monday qualifiers at -7. A lot of new names on the leaderboard as we play the first tournament, again at the Douglas Golf and Country Club, checking those out. Stephen Larrick's in there, and he's sponsored by Dave Thomas of Wendy's. When we return, we're going to talk about some pre-tournament activities, and we'll take a tour around Douglas, Georgia. And we'll go up close and personal with our 93 Co-Players of the Year.
Still ahead on This Week on the Hooters Tour, Pro-Am results, interviews with the Co-Players of the Year, and a tour around Douglas, Georgia.
Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
Table 7 and 8. And remember, you're playing for Bud Light, ladies.
The boys are back in town.
These guys are good.
Who are you calling guys?
Looks like you're in the finals.
Ma'am, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
You're the defending ladies pool champion?
Yes, I am.
You know, Lee, before we get to Saturday and Sunday's play, which is always exciting, I'd like to tell the people out there about some pre-tournament activities that take place during the week. On Easter Sunday, Ray Franz from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, continued his winning ways at Douglas by taking first place in the shootout. And that was sponsored by Golden Corral. Then on Monday, there was a junior clinic, which was sponsored by Cellular Plus. And on Tuesday, a Pro Lady, where 60 regional lady golfers ended up with Ann Benton, Peg Fair, Sue Whitfield, and Hooters Tour Pro Joey Caney were crowned champions.
Then on Wednesday, Kim, we had the big Pro-Am. We had 20 teams in that event. When it was all said and done, the team of Darren White, Robin White, C.B. White, and Wayne Johnson had won. Now, they were joined by their Hooters Pro Craig Barnes. First place score, 31 under par, or 119. Pretty awesome. Kim, let's not forget that during the week we have our 10-spot qualifier early. Now, that gives area pros and amateurs the opportunity to play for $100,000 on our tour. In Douglas, Steve Thomas, Eric Manning, and John Whitmore were the low pros with 69 scores. Now, 3 players had 70s. They were Paul Claxton, also Andy Morris and John Stacy. Doug Dunnicky, Kent Jones, and Archie Gonzalez posted 71s, while 5 players played off for the final spot. They had all shot 72s, so they had to go to an extra hole. Teddy Ashcraft won that final spot. Now, the many pre-tournament activities are going to help the players get to know the course as they head toward that big first round on Thursday.
Now, 2 guys, Lee, that certainly have PGA Tour potential are Craig Perks and Marion Dantzler. They were our 93 co-players of the year.
I didn't really have that high expectations of myself. I was just hoping to improve each week, and I started kind of slow and then gradually improved and was fortunate enough to win actually in New Bern. So overall, my game has improved week through week, and then I've really been struggling for about the last, I guess, 4 or 5 months, and now it's just starting to get a little bit better. So I progressed very quickly and then kind of tailed off, and now I'm starting to get back up there again.
I played very well and just played really consistent and had a lot of chances to win, and I won 1 and had a second and a third and I think 3 4. So I was in contention a lot of times, and it was fun. I'd say I've got pretty much the same attitude I had last year. Just try to go out and do what I know I can do and control the things I can't control. You know, there are a lot of great players out here that, you know, didn't get through the qualifying school. And it's just going to be a fun year with Hooters coming on board, I think. They've got a lot of good exciting things happening here, and I'm excited about it.
I expect a lot more now that, you know, I competed and was successful last year. Now I expect to be a lot more successful this year. So all the pressure is coming from internally, not from anyone else. There is a tremendous adjustment, you know, playing every, you know, week to week to week in a different state and in different types of courses, and it's just how you adapt and how you overcome the adversity, and, you know, is how you will perform on the professional tour.
I had a great year last year, you know, besides throw away the PGA qualifying school, and that was a very successful year and my best year ever. So that's how I tried to look at it, because the qualifying school is just, it's very difficult. I think a lot of luck is involved in, you know, getting the breaks going your way on a certain week, and unfortunately it didn't work out.
I'll tell you how good the competition is out here this year. Well, Craig and Marion, 2 great players, both missed a cut at Douglas, but you can be sure they're going to surface in the coming weeks.
That's right. And also, Lee, in the coming weeks, we'll be featuring our host communities or interesting aspects of the towns or cities that make up our Hooters tour schedule. This week, we take a brief tour around Douglas. Douglas, Coffee County, is located in southeast Georgia, roughly 215 miles from Atlanta. Douglas is a community that looks to the future. The community has experienced an enormous amount of recognition for its effort to encourage industrial development, manufacturing, agriculture, retail, etc. Principal agricultural products include corn, tobacco, peanuts, soybean, cotton, forestry, swine, ornamental plants, cattle, vegetable, and poultry production.
We've been real fortunate during the 80s to attract some pretty top-notch industries to our community. These industries have a heavy dollar commitment here in Douglas and Coffee County, and we're fortunate all of them are doing well. They continue to expand. Our community is aggressive. We continue to attract new industries to come in our area, and this job growth through our industries has been the spur of all of our growth.
In 1987, the state of Georgia approved Douglas as a Main Street city. Through the affiliation of this program, Douglas has seen many positive changes in the downtown business area. Plans are underway to create additional parking for downtowners. The once Martin Theater is being studied for renovation possibilities. Downtown Douglas is an industry on the move. Downtown is housed in approximately 35 acres, has 130 places of business, and employs approximately 800 people. The citizens of Douglas, Coffee County continue to look to the future. They recognize the stepping stone of the past will lead to a bright and promising future. Don't go away when we return Saturday and Sunday's play, and you'll meet the winner of the Top Flight Classic in Douglas, Georgia, right after this.
Don't go away. The All-American from the University of Georgia gets hot. Rounds 3 and 4 when we return.
So I said to Henny, of course chickens are more important to Hooters than owls.
Who?
Chickens, that's who.
I beg to differ.
Well, beg all you want. Without chickens, there'd be no chicken sandwiches or chicken salad, or Hooters famous chicken wings. There'd be no Hooters if it weren't for chicken.
It's really not wise to even argue the point.
That's because I'm right.
No, that's because you're not going to be around long anyway. Chicken.
Naturally fresh, simply delicious. Just wait and see. You'll taste the quality. Preservative free. We always have been, always will be. Naturally, it's simply delicious. Naturally fresh. It's a lifestyle.
Are you still drinking the old thing? Try the next thing, Powerade. With 33% more carbos than Gatorade and a taste you can really slam. Powerade, the next thing.
At the start of play on Saturday, Paul Claxton and Kent Jones had a one-shot lead over Curtis Worley of Coronado, California.
And by the day's end, Lee, several of the front runners had faltered, and one player seemed to be making a statement. 61 players made the final 36-hole cut at the Hooters Jordan Top Flight Classic. Heading into Saturday, there were 2 players who shared the lead at 137, 7 under par. Curtis Worley of Coronado, California, was in the hunt trailing by a single stroke with 4 players, 2 strokes back, tied at 135. Names like former PGA Touring professional Joe Durant, Chan Reeves, Ricky Smallridge, who shot the low round on Friday with a 65, and Darrett Brinker. Paul Claxton would jump out in front early on when Kent Jones misses his par putt on number 1 and takes a bogey 5 to fall to -6. Claxton continued to knock it close but could not capitalize on birdie opportunities. By hole number 5, Jones had evened up the match, but the redhead from Vidalia would knock in this birdie to take a one-stroke lead, a lead Claxton would not relinquish the rest of the weekend. Meanwhile, back in the pack, Dwayne Lorio of River Ridge, Louisiana, was trying to make some noise. He had started the 3rd round at -3, but missed birdie attempts like this one, which kept him from advancing. Brinker was also having his problems with the short stick. The Evansville, Indiana native was playing in his first Hooters Jordan event, and he was making a strong showing. He will be heard from this season, no doubt. Still, the man from Vidalia was the continuing story. He was writing a script with his marvelous short game, and his safari-type hat made him easy to spot, and his game made it easy for us to watch. Claxton hits his tee shot at number 17, and by day's end, he'll park at 11 under par. Ricky Smallridge, the guy who made the biggest second-day move with a 65, continued to have problems like putting his tee ball into the water at the par 3 number 11, taking a double bogey. He had started the round 2 strokes back of the leader. Now, Joe Durant will par number 17, and he will finish the day 7 strokes in back of the leader Claxton. But watch out for Durant on Sunday, as he will make a move. The final group on Sunday, though, will be Ricky Smallridge and Paul Claxton.
You go out and you play, and you try to stay on an even keel, because it's hard to play when you get mad and get upset, and when you get too excited, it can work against you too.
I think this course can yield some birdies. There's a lot of birdie holes. What's given me the most problems, and what I think's given a lot of guys problems the last couple of days, is the way the wind has been swirling around. So if the wind doesn't blow tomorrow, I think you might see several low scores.
So after 3 rounds of the Top Flight Classic, Paul Claxton with that 4-shot lead over Ricky Smallridge. Joe Durant's going to make a move on Sunday. Keep your eye on him. He's at -4 right now, again after the 3rd round of play. And check out down there Joe Shahady out of Hattiesburg. He's at -2 and in a large group at that. And there's a large group at 1 under par.
With 1 day to go, Paul Claxton had a 4-stroke lead over Ricky Smallridge from Opelika, Alabama.
Well, that was the name we heard earlier in the week. Ricky Smallridge had that course record 65 on Friday, jumped 11 shots up. But even Ricky wasn't the only hunter in the pack, because Kent Jones and Joe Durant also were in there after that big money to be distributed on Sunday.
Paul Claxton has the look of a champion. His 11 under 205 heading into today's final 18 is 4 better than Ricky Smallridge, and 6 strokes ahead of Curtis Worley and Kent Jones, who shared the lead with Paul after round 2. Durant played steady, and at one point when Claxton was struggling, Durant had pulled to within a stroke. Remember, we mentioned Joe Durant and his play on the final 18? Watch him sink this sizable putt at number 5 that pushes his score to 7 under, with 3 birdies in his first 5 holes. Joe comes right back at the par 5 6th hole with yet another bird that leaves him just 3 strokes behind the leader, Paul Claxton. And speaking of Claxton, he started to come back to the field late on the front side. His bogey here at number 9 is his second of the day, and he now stands at 9 under par, and yes, like we mentioned, just a stroke in front of Durant. Another guy at -8 is Ricky Smallridge, but that Durant-Smallridge threat ended when Claxton eagled number 10, moving back to 11 under par for the tournament. He would later go on to save par with a fantastic sand shot at the par 3, number 11. Smallridge, meanwhile, loses 2 shots to par and falls to 6 under. At number 12, Claxton falls back to 10 under after he finds the water on the hardest hole on the course. 12 has an island fairway and requires a good blast off the tee, carrying about 190 yards to a tight landing area. This would be Paul's last slip. He would be solid the rest of the afternoon. A perfect day for golf, I might add. At number 13, Claxton goes back to 11 under with a birdie on the par 5 hole. From there, Paul gets a routine par at 14, it's ditto at 15, and 16, Claxton gets a great approach shot, which sets up a makeable birdie putt, which put him 4 strokes in front of the field with only 2 holes left to play. This birdie, he says, really sewed up the tournament.
Probably when I birdied 16, I knew that I pretty much had it unless I just, came apart. But, I held together good. I was pleased.
I got off to a good start today. From the position I started today, I really had to get something going early, and I did. But I just wasn't able to keep the momentum going, on the backside. And, I'm happy with my finish. I just would have liked to have made a couple more.
And just before the sun had set on Sunday in Douglas, a 5-shot margin of victory for Paul Claxton. Jason Biddick led the first round. He finished at 6 under par, and there were some others, including Bill Brown, former University of Georgia golfer, at -2 and in a large group. Really no surprise to me, Kim, or I think anyone else. Paul Claxton's a great player. He made it to the second stage of the PGA Tour qualifying school this last fall. Probably one of the most consistent young players on this tour. Now, the first event is over, and he gets that $15,000 first place check.
And Lee, let's take a look at how the money's divided for the first 5 or 6 guys.
So check out the big bucks for the top finishers at the Top Flight Classic. When we come back, a familiar name in professional golf. Gibby Gilbert Jr. demonstrates that tough 50-yard shot, and Hooters rules official Doug Finley takes us to the teeing ground.
Hello, this is Cliff Calvert, Tournament Director for the Hooters Jordan Golf Tour, and here are a few quick notes about this week in Douglas. Big news this week has to be Paul Claxton. After having to local qualify Monday morning, Paul goes on to win the $15,000 check and also jumps into first place in the chase for the Naturally Fresh $100,000 player bonus. Now look at the birdie leader list. This week in Douglas, Chan Reeves had 20 birdies to lead the tour. And Rob McKelvey leads all players with 2 eagles.
there's little doubt that the toughest shot in golf is the 40 to 50 yarder from the green. Gibby Gilbert Jr. tries to give us some help.
Hi, my name is Gibby Gilbert Jr. I'm with the Hooters Jordan Tour. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 50 to 60 yard shot. With most of the amateurs that I play with in the Pro-Ams, the common fault that they do is they take it back too far and de-accelerate it coming down. The most important thing, I think, is to take it back shorter and accelerate it going through.
Each week, one of our Hooters Tour players will be here with some helpful hints, and each week a Hooters rules official will pass along a word about the rules. This week, Doug Finley is at the teeing ground.
This week on our Rules of Golf tip, we're talking about Rule 11 in the USGA Rules of Golf, and it concerns the point where all golfers start the play of any hole, and it's known as the teeing ground. Rule 11 of the USGA Rules of Golf tell us that the teeing ground area is really just a rectangular box defined by the outside limits of the 2 tee markers and 2 club lengths in depth, and that we can tee our ball anywhere within that area. It is also okay if we stand outside of the teeing ground to hit a ball teed within it. What happens if we play from outside the teeing ground? Well, in stroke play, a player incurs a 2-stroke penalty and must play another ball from within the teeing ground. And in match play, however, your opponent may require you to cancel your stroke and play from within the teeing ground without penalty. Enjoy your golf and see you next week for another tip on the rules of golf.
So the next time you tee it up, just be aware of where your tee is stuck in the ground. Now, after the first event of the year, let's take a look at our top 10 Hooters Tour money winners. Well, we told you the redhead, Paul Claxton, by winning the first event of the year, is our money leader. Joe Durant, the Tour's only single-season 3-time winner, that happened in '92, is second. There's a 3-way tie for third with Andrew Morse, Christian Bennett, and Chris Vandervelde, all at $4,033.34. And then moving to Chan Reeves, followed by Jason Biddick and Gibby Gilbert, all locked in at $2,373. Dwayne Lorio and Ricky Smallridge round out our top 10 at $2,050.
Not only are these guys playing for the $100,000 purses, but the big $100,000 Naturally Fresh bonus. Now, the points are awarded at the end of the year. The players will get points based on the order of finish, for instance, making the cut, participation in the tournament, etc. It's much like the NASCAR point system. Now, what that means at the end of the year, the Hooters top money winner should be banking somewhere between $150,000 to $175,000.
A big thanks to the folks at the Douglas Golf and Country Club, our host for the week. Also the Douglas community and our friends from the Hooters restaurant over in Jacksonville. And let's not forget Captain Daryl Kirkley with that hot air balloon and Loy Allen's race car.
2 features that we like to see every week. And next week, Lee, we're going to be in Chattanooga, Tennessee at the Brown Acres Golf Course. And don't forget, have a great time at your favorite Hooters restaurant.
See you next week.
Check us out next week, same time, same channel, for more exciting golf. And maybe we'll throw in a chicken wing or 2.
This week on the Hooters Tour is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. Naturally Fresh Foods. Naturally fresh, preservative-free salad dressings, sauces, and dips. And by Bud Light. Won't fill you up, never lets you down.